We are about to see some serious stuff hit the fan.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious
Yeah, those aren't my words. Those are the words of two separate analysts who believe we are in for a tornado of problems, both on the economic front and on the war front. Of course, arguably the economic front will have global ramifications. But over the past 24 hours, NATO made a massive mistake. But it was intentional. It was an intentional mistake. It was a blunder, launching an attack against Russia with a sophisticated attack on the Russian Navy. Big mistake. And Putin knows exactly what they did. And of course, we are watching now to see how bad this actually gets. We just saw our clearest sign yet that an all-out war is coming. And if you're an investor, you need to pay attention to what's about to happen to the global economy as we slide into this recession at the beginning of 2024. We've got a bunch of big stories that I want to get to, and they're all tied together on energy, on debt, and war. So let's start with the war, which is incredibly important to understand because the United States wants to own Ukraine fully so that BlackRock and Vanguard and all of these other massive corporations can take full control of the land. Now, over the past few hours, intense fighting has broken out between NATO and Russia. NATO launched a massive attack on the Russian naval fleet in the Black Sea. This is an attack on Crimea, which is Russian territory. Therefore, NATO just launched a missile attack against Russia. Plain and simple. As former UN weapons inspector and friend of the show Scott Ritter points out, make no mistake, this was a NATO attack.
This wasn't a Ukrainian attack against Russia. This was a NATO attack against Russia. And that's the significance of it. What Russia chooses to do, we'll find out.
Before and during the attack, a U.S. Navy Boeing Poseidon aircraft was flying over Romania's Black Sea coast. We know what this was.
I mean, but this couldn't have happened without American and British NATO assistance.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky just went to Washington this week begging for more weapons and more money, and he vowed to continue the Ukrainian counteroffensive into the snowy winter. So wait a second. The entire spring and summer counteroffensive has been a failure, but now Ukraine is somehow going to pull off a massive offensive in the snow? Okay.
How was the meeting with Zelensky, and did it change your mind at all?
No. I mean, what the meeting revealed to me is that in the words of President Zelensky, the conflict is a total stalemate. That's what he said. Totally frozen, I believe, was what his words were, which is also what the administration told us yesterday. The administration told us yesterday they want to spend $100 billion more, our money, more, over the next year in the hopes that it will remain a stalemate. Which leads me to ask, what is the goal here?
But meanwhile, Putin has been quiet. We know something big is coming. But there's more big pieces of news this morning, not just the physical fighting part, but the energy disaster that the West is about to face. So JP Morgan is out with an ominous warning this morning that we could face multiple energy crises over the next few years. And get ready, he says, for $150 a barrel for oil. That would push gas prices to astronomical highs, unlike anything we've ever seen before. I mean, we're over $90 a barrel right now, and it's been crushing for a lot of businesses. And you, let me know in the comments below how much you're paying for gas where you live right now. Well, this JP Morgan analyst calling it a super cycle. I'd call it, frankly, a perfect storm. So all of those sanctions against Russian gas and oil are about to destroy the Western economies. Here's exactly what he said. "Dear generalists, put your seatbelts on," he says, paraphrasing, "while we believe the sector is in a structural upcycle and oil should normalize higher." So that's basically analyst speak for, oh shit, oil is about to hit $150 a barrel. An upcycle, normalized to the upside. He says the stupidity of moving towards a total green future and the Russian sanctions could push us into, quote, multiple oil-led energy crises in this decade, potentially much more severe than the gas crisis seen in Europe in 2022. Of course this is happening. The war in Ukraine has pushed Saudi Arabia and Russia into a tighter alliance. Energy prices up 30% and rising. Experts say if you want to see what the U.S. is going to look like, just look at what's happening in Germany. President Biden depleted our stockpiles of oil reserves in order to score a few political points, leaving us totally vulnerable, at the same time provoking an all-out war with Russia. Smart move. China gets it. China's President Xi Jinping this weekend said getting rid of fossil fuels is unrealistic. He gets it. The West does not. As the AP reports, Germany went from being the envy of the world to the world's worst performing major developed economy. They did it in a short amount of time. Well, what happened? Well, Russian sanctions happened, and they moved towards a green energy economy, a collapse of manufacturing and industry, and a total energy crisis. Of course, that spreads to all industries, namely housing. As The Economist reports this week, Germany's builders are on the verge of collapse in a housing crisis, thanks to an energy crisis, thanks to Russian sanctions. Turns out you need energy to build things. I guess these morons in the West didn't think about that. But it turns out they did think of this, because even last summer, the warning signs were there. Economists were warning that entire sectors of Germany's economy would collapse. Even as Bloomberg reported back then, we knew it was coming. And now the United States is facing a similar fate. Now to the other big news of this morning, the U.S. debt. We hit $33 trillion this week, a new all-time record, and the interest payments alone on the debt are nearing $1 trillion. Just the interest payments. But the analysts I'm speaking to are saying be very, very careful about the U.S. dollar right now, because if you've got your money sitting in cash, be very careful. This week, the U.S. dollar surged on some good news. And you know what the good news was? That Europe is in trouble. So stocks took a hit as investors jumped out of stocks into U.S. dollars. Are they crazy? I mean, investing in U.S. dollars when the government is facing a shutdown, $33 trillion in debt, a global economy grinding into recession by 2024. Thanks, but no thanks. I'll stay away. But let me know in the comments below, are you going to buy U.S. dollars or other hard assets right now? Let me know in the comments below. That's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is tied directly to this demand for gold right now. This company is called West Red Lake Gold. And this, in my opinion, is the most important gold company I've ever featured here on this show. And I don't say that lightly. I'm going to show you why I believe this stock could explode in the next few months. Now, if you're an investor, you need to pay attention to what I'm about to show you. This upside on this stock is significant. Now, let me set the stage before I give you the details about why I'm so bullish on this company. First, the single largest shareholder of this company is a man by the name of Frank Giustra. Now, Frank Giustra is a billionaire from the mining business. He knows exactly what he's doing and how to invest in fantastic mining stocks. Now, just a few weeks ago, in August, he bought another $2 million of stock in this company. He now owns over 12% of this company. Again, he's the largest shareholder. In August, when he bought the stock, it was trading at 55 cents a share. That means that he paid 10 cents more per share than you or I would if we bought it today. Okay, so that's one big data point, just to understand how important Frank is to this story. Now, the CEO of the company also just bought $100,000 of the company, 55 cents a share. He paid the same price for it. So they both bought in August for higher than it's trading at right now. And this is all public information. You can read exactly how much they bought. It's all public. Now, you might be asking, why are they so excited about this company? Well, let's get into it. This company is in Red Lake. It's in Ontario, Canada. They found gold there 100 years ago. In fact, the airport in Red Lake, because of the gold discovery, became the busiest airport in the world. That's right. Let me repeat that. This little airport in Red Lake became the busiest airport in the world. I know it seems hard to believe. You're like, what about Heathrow? What about Chicago? No. This airport. Fortunes have been made in this small area. Now, I want to show you how you can make a fortune on this company. This is very important. Pay attention if you want to make some money here. Now, the project they own is called the Madsen Gold Project. This isn't some small mine. They've built an entire city on a pre-existing mine that was laying dormant for decades. So here's what happened. That's why this is such a great business story. And this is why it pays to dive into the details and learn. This is how you can make a lot of money, by actually getting into the details of a company like this. Now, a company called Pure Gold, this is another company. They bought this mine a few years ago. Pure Gold was a $1 billion company, a $1 billion market cap. They started building out a huge mining operation on this site, building equipment, putting in infrastructure, the whole thing. Okay? They did it during the pandemic, but they screwed up the construction. They rushed the job. It was poorly managed. They built it on the wrong site. They really screwed this up.
An estimated 200 workers were impacted by the sudden shutdown of the Pure Gold mine in Red Lake, according to Mayor Fred Mota. Pure Gold announced the immediate suspension of operations at their Red Lake mine on the day of the municipal election, citing significant financial difficulties.
It was poorly managed. It was a mess. The creditor then started looking for a new buyer. So that's where Frank Giustra comes into the story, because he has an amazing track record of advising companies. He's able to identify, hey, this company just was a management problem, but there's a lot of potential underneath the ground here. They screwed up. You can swoop in and buy this company and do it the right way. And that's where the company I'm telling you about comes in, West Red Lake Gold. They take over this project with Frank's help. So Frank's advising them on it, and they put together an amazing board of experienced miners. And the company has a very small market cap, $82 million, okay? Very, very small, much less than the billion-dollar company that just screwed things up. Just so you understand, they bought this project, which was valued at $1 billion. That company didn't know what they were doing. They made big mistakes. And this mine, the whole project had kind of a stigma on it, kind of like a stink about it, you know, like, oh, we don't want to touch that. But Frank's a smart guy, and he understands the potential of this area and this mine. So where other people might say, hey, other people's trash is another person's treasure, that's exactly what happened here. So West Red Lake Gold swoops in, buys the mine, which is now valued at 90% below the $1 billion valuation of the previous owner. They swoop in and they buy this mine, they stabilize it, and I'm going to show you why I'm so bullish on this company. This is the good stuff. This is why I bought a lot of shares of this company. I'm going to show you why this company is worth a heck of a lot more than $82 million, in my opinion. You'll see why I think this is the best gold company with the biggest upside potential that I've ever shown you on this show. And by the way, analysts don't even know about this company yet. I'm showing you this before any major news outlets cover it. I couldn't find any major news outlet coverage of this. I didn't see it on CNBC. I didn't see it on Bloomberg. By the way, back when I started researching this company, as a side note, their market cap was under 70 million. Now it's at 82 million. So in the amount of time that I've been diving deep into their numbers, they've already increased in value tremendously. So let's get into it. This project, the Madsen project that they took over, has $350 million worth of equipment and infrastructure already in the project. Look at this. It's like they bought a foreclosed home that had all sorts of new upgrades, like a brand new kitchen, brand new bathroom, but the previous owners couldn't afford it and screwed it up. So look at all of this equipment, look at all of this infrastructure. So if they never even bring this mine into production, it's already worth $350 million. Now let me underline that. So even if they never bring the mine into production and they sell off the company for $350 million, you would have already 5 times your money, 5x your money. And if you wanted to build the same infrastructure on the mine right now using today's equipment at today's prices, it would take about 4 years to build and about $700 million to build out the same infrastructure with the same equipment because of inflation and the amount of prices for cost of these equipment today. And then start pulling the gold out of the ground. So they got an amazing deal on this, on the property, the project, and the equipment that's already on the property. This stock could go up by 7 to 14 times its current value. And that would happen, by the way, if this company goes from 82 million market cap to a $500 million, like these other gold producers with similar structures in place. Those other companies are valued at 500 million up to $1 billion. So this company is dramatically undervalued, in my opinion. And I've shown you mathematically how that's possible. Now, to put a bow on this, the way that this company could explode in value is thanks to the management of the company. They have an unbelievable track record of doing this over and over again. The CEO, Shane Williams, has done this multiple times before with other companies, fixing what other companies screwed up, stabilizing mines so it's not going further into debt, bringing great gold projects to the market. In fact, one company labeled one of the main gold projects that Shane brought to market as their best producing gold project they've ever had. So he swoops in, sees what other companies have screwed up, then stabilizes the mine so it doesn't go further into debt. Then they drill to identify the best possible gold veins to start drilling. And then they start fully operating the mine, pulling gold out of the ground. And at each stage, that's how the market cap increases, by the way. These are all milestones for the company. And the company has 2.5-year plan in place for this. So I'm investing here for a long play. This is not a get-rich-quick kind of overnight stock. In my opinion, this is a long-term play. Stabilizing the mine, then identifying potential new gold spots on this property, then doing the actual excavation and actual removal of the gold. Each of those levels is how this thing can explode. Again, this stock right now, as of this recording, is trading at a really cheap price. So even if you just bought a few shares, you're not breaking the bank on this at pennies on the dollar. I bought a lot of shares of this company, and I personally plan to hold it for a good amount of time as they hit each of these milestones. I'll have links below to their website so you can go and do your own due diligence on this, read everything that I just told you about so you can confirm it. Also dive deep into your own data, make your own decisions about it. Again, here is the stock ticker on your screen. Write this down, and we will see you next time, everyone.